What's going on, guys? I'm gonna wait a few moments for people to come on. Just so you all know, I am doubly set up here on Instagram and Facebook. So I'm gonna wait a few moments for people to jump on, and then I'll get started here in a moment. What's going on, Josh? How you doing, bro? Thanks for jumping in here. I'm excited to talk about some money tonight. Talk about finances, creating wealth, all these things. I got some good questions from people, and some topics I want to talk with you guys about. So, if you, while we're waiting, if you want to throw some questions in, that'd be awesome. What's going on, Fred? How you doing? I'm good, bro. Glad you jumped in here. Everybody get their appreciate that, Emeka. How you doing? Everybody get their stimulus checks in. We got ours, I think, a couple weeks ago. Who still has it though? Who still has their stimulus check? That's the question. What's up, Dex? That's good. That's good. What's up, baby? You didn't get yours yet? Are you a dependent? Curious. Hey, that's what's up, Dex. Same here. Same here. What's going on, Matt? Long time no see, brother. Hope all is well. Same here, Dex. We didn't even touch it. As soon as it came in, I initiated the transaction, champ. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. If people are coming in late, they can, you know, jump in and run it back from the beginning when we finish. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started. My name is Cameron Tucker. For those of you who don't know me, I am a 29-year-old teacher from Radcliffe, Kentucky. I currently live in northern Kentucky near Cincinnati, and I teach PE and health and also coach football. I am not a professional. Let me go ahead and throw that out there, but I do know how to read and I know how to retain what I read. So I just want to share with you guys what I've learned, both good and bad, over the years, so that you guys don't have to make the same mistakes, and so you can pass this on to people. I'm just really just over this quarantine or isolation time from work. I've just really I've seen so much bad information go out to people, and I'm like, it just burns me. And so, I've seen some good stuff too, but uh, I want to help dispel myths. Not everybody who is within our reach, reads the stuff that some of us may read or anything like that. So I want to help you guys out because I obviously, if you're watching this, you're gonna tune in. So for those of you who are not familiar with Dave Ramsey, he is somebody who I've read a lot about. Chris Hogan, he's another person I've read a lot about. And so a lot of what I'm going to share is based off of things that they have kind of instilled in me through reading and classes that I've taken. So without further ado, I'm just going to start sharing. If you guys, again, if you have other questions on top of what I've already gotten, please put them in the chat. I will try to get to them. I don't want to go longer than 30, 35 minutes because then it'll just be, I don't know. Just didn't plan to go that long. So if you have questions, throw them in there. Um, so I'm just going to get started sharing a little bit of my story, which is really a we story because I am married. I've been married for 3 years. April 1st, 2020 made 3 years to my beautiful bride, Corey A. I love her. She has made this journey even more enjoyable. So this started back in 2014 after I graduated from college. I went to the University of Kentucky. I graduated debt free by the grace of God. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. I'll save that for another day. So I had no debt. I had one credit card with a $500 balance, and I hadn't used it until I graduated. And so that fall of 2014, I went to ministry school for that summer after I graduated, and I got out, and I had to use that card that summer to pay for food. Thankfully, my rent was taken care of, gas, and so I maxed out that little $500 card. Um, but while I was in the ministry school down there, I met a really good brother, and he introduced me to uh, Dave Ramsey. Shout out to Mike. I hope he gets to watch this. Shout out to Mike, man. You really changed the course of my life, bro, and I appreciate that. So Mike told me about Financial Peace University, and I was like, "What is that?" I just knew debt wasn't good, but I didn't know why. And so I moved back home, and I went to FPU that fall in October, I believe. Um, Bruce Seymour led the class. Him and my dad actually coached track and cross country together for several years. So it was really awesome to be led in class by him. So Coach Seymour and his wife led that class for 9 weeks, and it really just changed the game with what I knew. I had the what I needed to know, but I didn't have the why. Why it was beneficial for me to believe those things. And I also didn't have my own personal why. And so from that point on, it really added on to like, man, this is really bigger than me. We're talking about generations. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about family. I had already wanted to get married. And, there's pieces in there about, handling your finances together with your husband and wife or your spouse. And I'm just like, wow, setting your kids up for things. I come from a 2-parent household. Um, but we didn't talk about money. There's just like this thing in Black culture that, talking about finances is taboo. Um, I don't know how that is in other ethnic cultures, but within Black households, there's not a lot of talk about money. And if it is, it's not healthy. It's, I can't wait to get paid, or, oh, when's payday, or, oh, this bill's due. There's not a lot of healthy dialogue when it comes to money. Um, in my house, there just wasn't really any dialogue when it came to money. And so I was oblivious. I did not take the finance class in high school. I wish I had known about it, or I would have. And so this class has really changed the game. I paid that card off, that little $500 balance Discover student credit card. I paid that off during the class. I cut it up. I closed it. And I did not have any more credit or debt for the rest of my single life. I did get married, and I incurred some debt, which was great. I was excited about it. I was ready for the challenge. My wife was nervous. She was very nervous when she told me about her debt. She knew how excited and motivated I was, and she thought that I wasn't going to want to marry her once she told me about her debt. And so She actually, part of our premarital counseling, I was like, whenever I get married, my wife and I, we are going through this. We have got to go through this. It is that critical. Um, I don't have the data right here in front of me, but uh, without doing premarital counseling, and especially without taking care of finances with your future spouse, that is a huge inhibitor and a huge precursor to divorce rates here in America. Um, and so I don't know the percentage off the top of my head. I know it's close to 50% of all divorces or more are due to financial complications. And so if you're not on the same page with your spouse, that can be a huge divider in your marriage. And so I said, I already don't agree with divorce, but we are definitely not going to be divorced through our finances. I believe in the Bible, and through thick and thin, for better or for worse, richer or poorer, we are going to stick it out. So we went to FPU during our premarital counseling, and yo, when I tell you, she became so motivated, she like matched me right there. It was awesome. And so I was like, all right, we're gonna rock this out. So fast forward a little bit, because of job changes and different fluctuations of income, our debt-free finish line had fluctuated over the past 3 years. But we've always had a goal, and we've always been striving to it. And we knew that we were going to get there together. So the first thing I want to say is, if you are married, you and your spouse have to be on the same page. Uh, it's like two trains. If you're going the same direction, you got to be parallel. If one breaks off and goes this way at the Y, at the fork in the road, and the other goes the other direction, that is going to create divide. It's going to create tension, and you're just going to be stuck. You're going to be angry. Um, I've talked to people in this situation, um, and it's not fun. So, couples, if you are engaged, I encourage you to speak and talk about finances. Married couples, I encourage you all to get on the same page. In a second, I'm going to talk about making a budget. You have got to do a budget together so that both parties know what is going on with the money. If you're single, I was single, so I can speak to you as well. Um, do a budget also, so that your money isn't just gone before you get your next paycheck. Know where your money is going. And so that's a great segue. I will encourage everybody to get a budget. Do a budget. What's going on, Chris? What's going on, Sir Justin? Guys, get a budget going. There are so many different softwares. There's Truebill. I don't really use that, but I see it a lot on my advertisements. The one that I use and my wife and I use is called Every Dollar. I also have a Google Excel sheet that I created, and it kind of helps me see things a little bit differently that the budget apps don't allow you to do. I mean, they're not perfect. On that Google sheet, I also have all of our debts lined up, and I can see them as we've paid them off. There's like 35 lines, and most of them are green. We only have 3 debts left, thank God. Um, and so, what a budget does for you is it allows you to tell your money where it's going. So many times we get our paycheck and we're like, oh, it's gone by the time you get it. What happened to it? Guys, when you create a budget, it will change the game. It will change the game. It doesn't have to take long. It doesn't have to be super overly detailed, and it doesn't have to be stressful. Usually, in a marital concept, somebody is a free spirit and somebody is a spender. Or I'm sorry, somebody is a nerd. My wife and I kind of fluctuate back and forth, but typically the nerd is me. And I just love numbers. I love manipulating stuff and crunching numbers and figuring things out. And so I'll make a budget. Usually, I mean, after those first couple of months, it stayed the same. And bills will pop up here and there, whether it's medical debt or something that you're participating in, and so you'll just adjust your budget for that month. But she'll just look at it and be like, all right, I'm down. Can we change this? Sometimes she'll be like, hey, babe, can we have some more spending money this month? I'm like, all right, bet, let's do it. Or I'll be like, hey, we're close to paying this off. Let's limit going out to eat this month so we can pay off this debt. And so she'll be like, I'm down, let's do it. So creating a budget is a priority. It should be your number one priority. Um, if you have debt, if you have debt, I know a big thing. This is one thing that has really been bothering me during this crisis. Is a lot of people are jumping on investing because the stock market's crashed pretty low a couple of weeks ago. They bottomed out. And so people were jumping in and, buying, trying to figure out what stocks to jump on, and jumping in and start trying to make this a career, or I hope not. But I just, if you look, and again, I'm not a professional, guys. I encourage you to go read and check what I'm saying. Go study for yourself. Um, we're talking about getting out of debt, creating generational wealth, and wealth is relative, whatever that looks like for you. But people who are wealthy do not make money and grow their wealth from being single stock investors. All right. You see the stocks can plummet at any time, at any time. And so a lot of times people are motivated by fear. And so that's actually the worst time to sell stocks. And that's what people do. What's going on, Walt? I miss you too, buddy. Hope you're getting your work done. And so what I would encourage you to do before even investing in anything is to pay off your debt. So Courier said, how long did it take for you to get comfortable with budgeting? Let me run that back. It took about 3 or 4 months when I was single. And then when I got married, it took us about probably 4 or 5 months, because both parties are different, and you got to adjust. If you're the nerd, you can't just be like, oh, this is how it's going to be and it's going to stay this way. You have to bend with your spouse. And if you're single, it's just you, so it shouldn't take as long. But back to the paying off debt. Guys, if you have debt, that needs to be your main focus. Why? If you have debt, once you budget, you're going to see how much money you put every month toward debt. And it might blow your mind if you have a lot of debt, or if you have a lot of different debt payments. For example, right now we're doing something called being gazelle intense with paying off your debt. So you put as much money as you can toward paying off debt. Close to half of our monthly income that we receive is going to debt. Now, to some people who will get new at this debt payoff or budgeting, like, oh my gosh. Well, look, guys, if you're trying to change the dynamic of your family, the legacy of your family, is going to take some sacrifice. We're willing to sacrifice not going on some vacation, abroad. I can't tell you how many vacations I've had to turn down since I've graduated from college because I wanted to get out of debt. We wanted to get out of debt. Cruises that we've had to turn down, we wanted to get out of debt. Um, you know, Birthday celebrations of, domestic vacations that we've had to go away. And so, guys, it is okay to say no. We don't have to do everything right now. There's this misconception that, I have to put off marriage, or I have to put off having children because I have to get my life that I think that I want to live. I have to get it in right now. It's okay. That is a myth. When Courier and I got married, I said, hey, we're just getting started. We are just getting started. We are going to have fun while we're married, in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Forget slowing down and life gets terrible. Guys, the reason why that happens is because people allow that to happen. If you are intentional about pushing back society and creating the path that you have for your family, you can change the game. You don't have to keep with the status quo. You don't have to keep with that. And so right now we are very close, relatively speaking, to getting out of debt. We're probably a year or so away. Lord willing, if nothing changes, maybe a baby comes, or something else crazy might happen with this corona stuff, or who knows. But right now we're about a year or so away from being out of debt. The borrower is the slave to the lender. That is in the Bible. We're slaves. If you are in debt, you are a slave to the person that you borrowed the money from. That's just what it is, guys. It's not fun to be in debt. I've seen people suggesting to go into debt to start a business, a personal business. I'm all for starting businesses. I want to start one. My wife wants to. We have stuff we want to do. Delayed gratification is the name of the game. This popcorn culture that has been created over the last 20 years. I want it and I want it now. It's all a facade, guys. I'm breaking all the walls down right now. I'm just breaking them down. It's a facade. You don't have to have it right now. Who said that? Who? Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Guys, you will have more skin in the game if you have your money invested. It will be personal to you. If you're playing with somebody else, if somebody gives you $1,000 to go bet on some horses, guys, you'll probably be done with that money in 30 minutes. But if you save your own money and you take $1,000 to go bet or go to a casino or whatever, this is a very loose example, you probably are not going to spend all of that money. You'll probably, and if you do, you're not going to do it in 30 minutes. You're going to be careful, you're going to be meticulous, and you're probably going to want to go home with some money in your pocket. So you're not going to spend it all. It's the same when it comes to investing or anything, or even buying a home, being smart about buying a home. You want to be wise. That's why if you come with a down payment, that's why your interest rate is lower when you get a mortgage. The more money you put up front, the lower your interest rate will be, because they have trust and faith that you will pay it back. So yeah, there's a question. What are ways to communicate with your significant other about money? Lisa, what's up, cuz? She says she's the nerd too. Your husband is the free spirit. Sometimes I'm the free spirit too. It just depends, but typically I'm the nerd. Um, the best thing to do, and this is with anything in life that can cause confrontation, is to just be direct. You got to create space and opportunity for these conversations to happen. We started out, before we kind of got in a role, we would do a monthly budget committee meeting before the end of the month. That's when I used to get paid once a month, and I think she used to just get paid once a month. And so we would have a budget committee meeting before payday to talk about what our money would look like for the next month. And so we would just talk for like 30 minutes. I would come prepared with what the budget was going to look like. And again, she would make those changes or a couple of suggestions. And sometimes she'd be like, it looks good. And just make one change, and we keep it moving. So yeah, that's how you can make adjustments and communicate with your significant other about money. So investing. If you are investing or if you're interested in investing, I would encourage you to invest in mutual funds. This is just a suggestion. Again, I'm not a professional, so do not, this is from what I've read and from what I understand. I'm encouraging you to go do your own reading and understanding. What mutual funds are a compilation of a lot of single stocks. See, we're coming back to the single stocks. So mutual funds are, so it could be a fund comprised of Coke, Microsoft, Apple. Everybody loves investing in Apple, Marathon, the oil companies. So hundreds of stocks in one mutual fund. That's why it's called a mutual fund. They're all mutually together. So if one of those stocks crashes inside of that fund, it's not going to hurt you as bad as if you had $10,000 invested in one stock and it crashes. So mutual funds, there's different types. There's aggressive mutual funds where these are like growing businesses that have a higher ceiling than where they currently sit. And there's mutual funds for people who just kind of want their money to grow slowly for those companies that are already developed, like Ford and those types of companies, Facebook. And then there are international mutual funds for companies that are based overseas. And so there's different types. I encourage you to go read and study on those. Um, I can't impress that upon you enough to go and study and have your own wisdom about these topics. Somebody asked how they can lead Financial Peace University. That's a great question. You do not have to have already gone through it to lead FPU. A lot of people lead, and it's their first time learning the content. And that's a great way to hold yourself accountable. You can do that by just going to the Dave Ramsey website, and I can connect you with those people as well. Corey and I led our first group last spring. It was awesome. It was 9 weeks, and we saw over $50,000 of debt paid off while we were in that class. We also just had a couple tell us recently that they just became debt free when they got their stimulus check. And they also, with that stimulus check, they were able to finish their baby step 3, which has their 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So, guys, once you go through this and once you learn this, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. What questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? Like I said, I do not want to get too in depth. I'm getting close to my 30-minute mark. I would like to do this once a month or once every 2 weeks, twice a month. I'm still planning that out, but this has been on my heart. I just wanted to share it with you guys. For those of you that have made it to the end, here's a little something special for you. If you want to message me, either through Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and if you have any personal questions or would like some suggestions or some wisdom, I don't know it all. I don't claim to, and I'm still trying to learn more. I want to encourage you to message me with anything, and I will directly help you with no money asked for, free of charge. I just really want to be a service to you guys. This is like a ministry to me, and I've really been compelled to just dispel some of these myths, guys. I've been sharing them over the years, and it's just time to put it out there and leave it out there. Again, I'm just going to run through this real quick, guys. If you're in debt, pay it off as quick as possible using the debt snowball method. That means starting with listing all your debts, smallest to largest, and paying them off like that. If you're investing, if you're wanting to invest in mutual funds. Don't get too caught up in single stocks. It's okay if you're debt free to play around with those, but I would not get too caught up in them, especially if you're in debt, guys. If you're in debt and you're investing, you're just slowing down your debt payoff, because God forbid we die and we're paying off debt, but we're also investing. That money that we have with debt is still going to be, overtaken by your family. So, pay that debt off as quick as possible, um, and work on a budget. Create a budget. Create a budget. Get out of debt. And if you're out of debt, invest in mutual funds. My social handles: Coach Tuck _ on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook. My name is Cameron Vincent Tucker. Facebook.com/1CoachTuck. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a message in my inbox. You can comment on this, and I'll follow up with you. And again, if you stuck with me to the end, message me on here, Instagram, or Twitter. Love you guys. Have a good night. God bless you.